Have you ever found yourself asking, is this all there is to life? Maybe you've been feeling stuck, guilty, or even a little selfish for wanting something more or different, despite all that you've already accomplished. If so, then you are definitely not alone and you are in the right place. Today, we're going to dive into these powerful, often confusing emotions that so many of us face. We'll talk about why you might feel guilty for wanting more, why it can seem selfish to desire something different when your life is already good, and why, even with all of your accomplishments, you might still feel stuck. These aren't just random feelings. They're important signals that deserve your attention. Why is this important? Because these invisible barriers, the guilt, self doubt, fear of wanting more, can hold you back from living a life that truly reflects who you are. But here's the thing, once you start to understand where these feelings come from and what they really mean, you can begin to turn them from obstacles into opportunities. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of these emotions and some powerful insights to help you process them. This is just the beginning of a journey toward using these feelings as a guiding light, leading you toward a life of more fulfillment, satisfaction, creativity, inspiration, alignment, authenticity, and purpose. So, if you are ready to stop apologizing for your dreams, break free from the patterns that no longer serve you, and the first step toward the take the first step toward the spectacular life you're meant to live, stick around. This video is a great starting point. So, let's get started. By addressing all four of these emotions together, this video can serve a more comprehensive understanding of the emotional landscape that you might be navigating. This can help you see how these feelings are interconnected and how one feeling can influence the others because they're all a normal part of the process. Yes, they suck, but they're normal. A few years ago, my now husband and I were at the Breakers in West Palm Beach, Florida, with my mom. A place so fancy that it practically sparkles. The hotel was hosting an exclusive sale on designer clothes and accessories, and I spotted these adorable shoes marked down from $700 to $85. They were real snakeskin with black velvet on top, and I absolutely had to have them. Guess how many times I wore them? Twice in 10 years. Why? Because while they looked incredible, I winced in pain every time I wore them. Sure, they were beautiful, but were they really worth it if I was limping the whole time? Literally. Those shoes were like a gilded cage for my feet. Fabulous on the outside, but pure torture on the inside. And that's exactly how success can feel sometimes. We might dream of hitting 100K or being top 5 on a real estate team. But when we get there, it's like we're trapped in our own gilded cage. We're comfortable. We're great at what we do and can afford $300 a week groceries. But inside, we're not fulfilled. We're not challenged. And we're definitely not doing what we really want to do. I mean, come on. Who really wants to spend every Saturday from 9 to 12 at an open house and then another one from 1 to 4? The kicker is, though, we feel this immense pressure to keep it all up. The success, the image, the lifestyle. It's like everyone expects us to keep wearing these fabulous shoes, even though they're killing our feet. We're so busy maintaining the appearance of success that it's almost impossible to focus on what we truly want deep down inside. But the thought of stepping out of that cage and pursuing our deeper desires feels risky, like we'll be judged for wanting more, or worse, for wanting something different. And then there's the inner conflict. You start to wonder if your desire for more is even valid. Maybe you're just being unrealistic, right? After all, isn't this what you wanted all along? But deep down, there's this nagging feeling that won't go away. This sense that there is something more for you, something better, even if you can't quite put your finger on it. And I've been there too. This summer of 2016 was a real turning point for me. Despite having a happy marriage, good health, and a fulfilling life outside of work, I felt like something was missing, like there was more. And if I'm honest, my career as a project manager had never really been as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. Sure, the money was good, I was successful, and I was really good at what I did, so I kept going. But that summer, I reached a point of no return, the point where I could not close my eyes to the truth anymore. And before maternity leave, I had been coasting, if you will, trying to make the best of the daily grind, feeling grateful for all I had, and living for the weekends. But as maternity leave was nearing its end that summer, I suddenly felt like I wanted to put the brakes on everything. Something felt off, but I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And the idea of being away from my kids all day just bummed me out. I vividly remember sitting on the balcony with my husband at our beach condo we had rented for a last hoorah before I went back to work when those nagging thoughts crept up on me. Is this it? Is this how life is going to be for the next 30 plus years, raising kids and working in a job I like but don't love? What if something happened to me before I retired? Would it all be worth it? Is this really the life that I want to live? What about leaving a legacy and making an impact? Suddenly, I was second guessing everything. What once seemed manageable now just felt bleak, unfulfilling, and just pointless. But I didn't know what to do with these questions. So I decided to suck it up, brush it off, and get back to work. I returned to the daily grind, trying to adjust to life with two kids under two. I know. Practicing self care, waking up early to work out and read the Bible, spending lunch breaks, putting my daughter down for her nap at daycare, just keeping myself busy. Because staying busy was my way of ignoring my unhappiness and unfulfillment. I overscheduled myself. I tried to fill every waking moment with anything and everything. And then in the rare times that I did slow down, I criticized myself for it. But the more I tried to push these questions away, the louder they became. My mornings became more chaotic, and I often found myself crying on the way to work. My husband and I bickered constantly because he didn't understand what I was going through. And on top of that, I felt guilty for wanting something different, for feeling unsatisfied when I had so much to be grateful for. Eventually, I just stopped talking about my feelings altogether because I felt like no one understood me. And that just made me feel more isolated and more understood. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't make sense of it. My husband just thought that I was going through a phase. My family didn't understand and thought I was crazy for feeling everything that I was feeling. So eventually, I just stopped talking to everyone about my feelings altogether, thinking that that would help. But it actually only made me feel more isolated and more misunderstood. So that's when I turned to journaling, pouring out my thoughts and seeking answers from God, asking Him why I just couldn't be content with life and what was wrong with me. And slowly I realized that maybe my life wasn't meant to follow the path I had set out for myself. What if I could do something I truly loved? What if there was a way to break free from the gilded cage I had built around me unknowingly and pursue something that truly fulfilled me? Imagine that. What if that could be possible for me? And these are pretty tough questions, ones that can make you feel conflicted and even more isolated. But here's the thing. These questions are actually important signals. They're pointing you towards something deeper, something more aligned with who you really are and what you truly want. So, let's unpack these questions together and help you gain clarity, release some guilt, and start moving in a direction that feels truly aligned for you. Because once you understand what these feelings are really about, you can use them to guide you toward a life that's not just successful on the outside, but is actually deeply fulfilling on the inside. So let's unpack these together. The first one is, why do I feel so guilty for wanting more? When we're on the path of owning the more we feel called to, whatever that looks like for you, it's common for us to feel guilty for wanting that thing, for wanting to follow that feeling, whatever it is. We might find ourselves thinking, who am I to want more? I already have so much more than my fair share. I mean, some people have so much less than I do. So I should be more grateful and content. It's like you're at a buffet and you're eyeing the last slice of cheesecake, but you're thinking, do I really need it? Shouldn't I just be happy with the salad? This guilt can creep in, making us feel wrong for pursuing our dreams, especially when others seem content with exactly where they are and what they have. We might even feel like we're leaving others behind if we choose to follow our own path and do something different. It's as if we've been programmed by society to believe that wanting more is inherently selfish. So we start to think to ourselves that being content with what we have is the only option. It's the only acceptable option. That settling is somehow the right thing for us to do. But here's the deal. When we feel guilty for wanting more, whether it's because it seems selfish, it means that we won't spend as much time with our family and friends, or we'll feel like we'll be letting people down and not living up to their expectations. That guilt that you're feeling, it's not about the more that you desire. That guilt is a sign that you're trying to break out of a pattern that you've been stuck in for so long. So it's like you're trying to upgrade your phone, but the old operating system keeps giving you error messages. Time for an update, time for an update. That guilt is going to keep popping up inside of you. It's not going to go away because that guilt is your upgrade. But somewhere along the line, whether consciously or unconsciously, there's a pattern. And maybe that pattern is that you've learned to, in order to be loved and accepted, you have to dim your light, you have to fit in or be the nice girl or guy. And so over time, you've internalized the idea that it's wrong to step outside of those roles. So that's when guilt kicks in, when we dare to dream bigger. It's like we're programmed to believe that sticking to the factory settings is the only way. But those settings are keeping us from discovering our true potential. So what do? Are you going to keep walking around with an iPhone 15 that has an iOS at 7? No, no, that won't work because here's the truth. To step into the spectacular life that you truly want, you have to change the pattern of who you've been. And what pattern is that? I don't know. But that guilt is simply a sign that you're breaking free from the old. You're breaking free from beliefs that used to support you. And this guilt is not meant to hold you back. It's there to remind you that you are growing, you are evolving, and you are stepping into more if you'll allow yourself to. And so think of it like this. Guilt is that annoying pop-up message on your computer screen trying to keep you in the same old routine. But you're about to click X and open up a whole new world of possibilities. To start identifying the patterns that might be causing your guilt, you've got to ask yourself some questions, such as, what messages did I receive growing up about ambition and wanting more? Because that can definitely play a part in it. Don't you dare roll your eyes at me about that. Think back to how success and ambition were modeled for you as a kid. So for me, I remember dreaming of being just like my mom, wearing high heels, going to work every day for long periods of time, and still somehow managing to spend time with my daughter and my family and keep the house in order. That's what I dreamed of. Was her life, her success, what ambition looked like for her. And it was an amazing model, don't get me wrong. But I never really saw her going after her goals and dreams. I never really saw her doing anything else, just continuing the success and ambition in the same way. And she pretty much wore the same thing every day to work. So to me, that is what success and ambition looked like. It looked that certain way, in high heels, long hours, and that's how I thought it should look for me. So no wonder when I felt called to more back in 2016, I didn't yet have an iOS system to back up that belief and that desire that I was stepping into, because my iOS system was still operating back at my mom's version of success and ambition. And I had followed that definition and that role up until that point. And when I started asking for more, I was not only questioning my life, I was questioning the beliefs and the models of what success was and what ambition was. So that's what I encourage you to do right now. What do you remember about your parents and their careers? Did that little girl or boy inside of you dream of doing the same things that they did? Or did you dream of even doing something the exact opposite of them? Either way, it plays a really, really big part in what you're going through and these feelings that you're facing right now. And now that you're starting to step outside of that mold, whatever that mold has looked like, understanding these foundational messages can help you see where your guilt might be rooted. I felt guilty for stepping outside of my corporate career because I felt guilty of stepping outside of the only version of success I had known. I felt guilty for doing something different than my mom did. I felt wrong for doing something different from her because I had unconsciously internalized that that is what success and ambition looked like. So take 30 seconds or a minute today. How did you, as a little girl or a little boy, dream of what life would be like when you grew up? What comes to your mind? What did you dream about? And how does your life look now? Have you tried to follow in the footsteps of your parents? Have you tried to do something completely different? And now you're finding out that you either don't want to do that or you're not as happy and unfulfilled. You're not as happy or as fulfilled as you thought you were going to be. Unpack that a little bit. And remember that you're not wrong for how you're feeling. And neither were they, neither were your parents. Guilt is just a way of whipping you, so to speak, to keep you on the same path. That's all. Another question is, when you think about wanting more, whose voices and opinions come to your mind? And I absolutely love this question. Is it your mom, your dad, your brother, your aunt, or just people in general on social media? Like, what are they going to think? Who is they? If you're worried about not meeting their expectations or losing their approval or disappointing them, that could definitely be contributing to your feelings of guilt. It's like having a peanut gallery in your head, constantly commenting on your own life choices, recognizing that these voices can help you see who you really are living for. It's either your desires or theirs. So when you think about wanting more, whether it's to start a business, to invest in something, to write a book, to start a product line, or just become an investor to help people with their taxes, like whatever it looks like, when you think about wanting more and actually going after it, whose voice comes to your mind? Is it your mom? Is it your dad? Is it your brother? Is it people on Facebook or on Instagram? This question can really help you see, like, what are you afraid of? What is this guilt signaling inside of you? Is it signaling that you are afraid of judgment? That you're afraid that you're going to fail? That you're afraid of being wrong? What is it? And then after you answer this question, I want you to ask yourself, what role have you typically played in your relationships? Have you been the caretaker, the peacemaker, or the achiever? Who have you been in your relationships? And how does wanting more challenge that role? We're going deep here. So think about the key relationships in your life: your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your best friend, your sister, your elderly parents, your elderly grandparents, whoever it is. And what role do you usually play? If you're the one who usually keeps the peace amongst everybody, or if you're the one who constantly takes care of others, asking them what you can do for them, how you can serve them, pursuing your own desires might make you feel like you're letting these people down, or that they won't accept it as the dream builder, or the one who is going against the grain. You might worry about becoming that one who's doing that thing that no one can really relate to. It's like showing up to a costume party in your superhero outfit while everyone else is still wearing their everyday clothes. You feel a little out of place, but it's time to embrace that cape. Identifying these roles can help you understand why guilt might be showing up now. These questions are so important, and I encourage you to reflect on them so you can start to uncover the patterns that are keeping you where you are, keeping you stuck, keeping you guilty, keeping you wrong, keeping you apologizing. And then you can begin to shift them. Because once you understand what these feelings are really about, you can use them to guide you toward a life that's not just successful on the outside, but is deeply fulfilling on the inside. All right, the next question we're going to unpack together of this guilt: is it selfish to want something different when my life is already good as it is? Woo! This is a big one. I've had several conversations on Instagram about this one. And there's nothing more hindering than feeling selfish or like you have to apologize, when deep down you know that there truly is nothing wrong with aspiring for greatness. But you can't help it, right? You can't help but feel that way. It's like having a perfectly good pizza in front of you, but still craving that fancy dessert. What do? You can't suppress that. But does that make you ungrateful for the pizza? Of course not. You're just hungry for something sweet. You want that cheesecake. You want that chocolate. And so wanting more doesn't mean that you don't appreciate what you have. It just means that you know there's more out there that could satisfy your hunger. And when we pursue our dreams and desires, it can feel like we're taking time and energy away from what we have going on right now, whether it's our family, our job, or other adulting obligations. But that nagging feeling of, if I focus my attention here, then I'm neglecting something over here. No. It's not this either or mentality that convinces us that we can have a fulfilling life or ambition, but not both. Because here's the thing, you have permission to want more, to dream bigger, to pursue what truly lights you up. And it's not about choosing between your ambitions or your loved ones. It's about finding a balance that allows you to grow while still nurturing the connections that matter to you. And I know we can end up feeling selfish for going after our dreams, prioritizing our ambitions over the needs of others, like we're doing something wrong by putting our happiness first. Trust me, this feeling creeps up all the time for me when I choose to edit a podcast or schedule a coaching call during the time when my kids are home from school and I could be playing outside of them. This guilt loves to sneak in there for me. And I know there is a pattern there. There is a pattern there. It's not about the guilt. It's about the pattern that I feel like if my kids are around, then I need to be spending time with them. And so I totally get this feeling of feeling selfish if we prioritize our wants over our kids, over cleaning the house, over mowing the lawn, over going to poker night with the guys. I get it. I get it. And sometimes we even shame ourselves into feeling more grateful. Oh, you should be more grateful. Why don't you just list out things that you're grateful for? Fearing that others will see our desires as greedy or ungrateful. We can somehow convince ourselves that if we could just be more grateful, more content with what we have, then these feelings of wanting more, these feelings of feeling guilty and selfish for wanting more would just go away, right? Wrong. Let me tell you right now that gratitude for what you have doesn't mean that you can't strive for more. And it's possible to appreciate your current life while also reaching for the next level. That doesn't make you wrong. And instead of feeling guilty, consider how your pursuit of more might inspire those around you. I don't know if that'll help or not. Because the truth is that not only in your pursuit of more and owning that more, that desire, not only does it fulfill you, but it inspires those around you. And as you step into your dreams, you give other people permission to do the same. I know you don't want to spend your life apologizing for your dreams. And the truth is that we aren't apologizing for what we want. We're apologizing because our desires are triggering emotional responses, either within ourselves or in the people around us. By going after more, we're not really apologizing for the more that we want to go after. We're apologizing for the guilt that it brings up within us, the greed that it brings up in other people, them thinking that we're greedy because we can't just be content with where we are. And that's okay. It's okay for them to feel that way. It's natural for these feelings to come up, but they don't have to mean that they're going to stop you from pursuing what you truly want and owning that more, owning that infinite desire, owning that next level that you're after. So the next time you feel a twinge of guilt, ask yourself, what's the story I'm telling myself about why I can't have both? And then challenge that story. Because what if you could have it all? After all, life isn't about choosing between pizza and dessert. Not always. Sometimes you are allowed to have both. You just have to make sure you leave room for that cheesecake or ice cream. Okay, and so the last feeling we're going to unpack is, why do I feel stuck when I've accomplished so much? And isn't it strange how you can achieve all of these amazing things in your life? Things that you once dreamed about, whether it's going to school, getting married, having a job, starting your own business, reaching success. But then when you get there, it's like you're spinning your wheels in mud. You're hitting the milestones, you're checking off the boxes. And from the outside, it looks like you've got it all together. But on the inside, I know it can feel like you're standing at a crossroads with no clear direction. Do I go this way or that way? Feeling stuck after accomplishing so much can be confusing and frustrating. It's like you're at the top of a mountain, but instead of enjoying the view, you're thinking, what now? Is this all there is? And you're blaming yourself for even asking that question. And it's normal to feel this way because when you're driven by goals, reaching them can sometimes leave you wondering what comes next. But when you see other people around you not doing the same thing, you start thinking, why am I the black sheep? Is something wrong with me? And so that excitement and that chase fades, and suddenly you're in a box, and things that once fulfilled you just don't hit the same way anymore. I get it. I get the internal conflict. And this feeling in particular often comes from a few places. First, it could be that your goals have changed. Maybe you once wanted to be a top realtor in your area. And now that you are, your goals have changed, but you haven't fully embraced that shift yet from there to here. Or maybe you wanted to be a top realtor in your area, but after 6 months in it and actually seeing what it looks like, you're like, no, thank you. No, thank you. It's time to embrace the shift, because if you don't, it's like wearing a pair of shoes that once fit perfectly, but now they're just a little too tight. You've outgrown them, but you haven't yet found the courage to try on a new pair. You haven't allowed yourself to go shopping yet. And so the second thing that could be going on is that you might be feeling stuck because your achievements were more about external validation than internal fulfillment. You wanted the awards, you wanted the bonus more than that internal fulfillment. And it's okay to be in that space. It is okay to have been chasing gold stars. But now you are where you are, and you know that you have those gold stars, or you're realizing that they don't truly satisfy that deeper hunger. And so you're ready for something different. And it's like eating a bunch of cotton candy. It's sweet and it's fun at first, but it doesn't fill you up, does it? What you're craving now is something more nourishing. You're ready to go paleo. You're ready to go healthier. You're ready to become more aligned with who you've become. And that's okay. It's okay to choose something different, to see that what you decided in your 20s might be different in your 30s, or what you decided in your 30s could be different now that you're in your 50s. It's okay to decide that. And lastly, feeling stuck can also come from not having a clear next step. Because when you've accomplished a lot, the pressure to keep up that momentum can be overwhelming. I mean, you've built your whole life around the successful real estate career, right? And so you might feel like you have to keep achieving at the same level or even higher, but you're not sure how to top what you've already done. Like, how am I going to recreate what I've already built over here? How am I going to recreate that in something else? What does that even look like? Can I do it? Was it a fluke? I have all of this experience, continuing on with our example of real estate. I have all of this experience in real estate, but I have very little experience as a tax strategist or a personal stylist. And so it can be easy to think that what you've done over here, and how am I ever going to get back to the top? It's like being at a party and then the music just suddenly stops. So what do? Do you leave? Do you find a way to keep the party going? What do you do? And so the good news is that feeling stuck is often a sign that you're ready for a new challenge. You're ready for a new direction or a deeper purpose. And it's your inner self nudging you to stop playing small. Stop worrying about how you're going to recreate this over here and start exploring what really lights you up right now. So if you're feeling stuck, despite all that you've accomplished, I want you to ask yourself, what's next for me? What's something I've always wanted to do but haven't ever given myself permission to actually pursue it, regardless of what the outcome is? What would truly fulfill you? Not just in terms of achievements, but in terms of joy, purpose, and meaning. What would truly light you up? Because the truth is that you're not stuck. You're just being called in a new direction. So as we close, I want to remind you of something incredibly important. While these feelings of guilt, self-doubt, or being stuck are completely normal, and I shared with you my journey, I also want to share with you that these feelings aren't permanent. They're not here to define you. They're here to guide you. I encourage you to lean into them. Don't feel wrong for feeling them. Don't feel wrong for asking yourself, is there more? Because every time you feel just a teeny weeny bit of guilt, that sense of being stuck or that pull of want more, it's not a sign that something's wrong with you, that you're ungrateful, that you're a black sheep, that what you have now isn't good enough. It's a sign that you're growing. It's a sign that you're ready for a new chapter, a new challenge, a new adventure. And I know change can feel scary. It can feel like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, unsure of what's below. But what if that cliff isn't something to fear, but something to leap from? Whew! Trusting that your wings are ready to carry you to new heights. What if this feeling of being stuck is actually your soul whispering to you, you're ready for more? Now, can you go get it? Will you allow yourself to go get it? So instead of shying away from these feelings, I really encourage you to lean into them, like I said, to fully process them. Allow yourself to go there and to sit with these emotions, understand where they're coming from, and see how they might have been holding you back by ignoring them, by suppressing them. Because these invisible barriers, if left unexamined, can prevent you from living a life that truly reflects who you are. You could be hanging out here forever. And I know you don't want that. I know you would regret that so, so much. Here's the beautiful part. The more you understand these feelings, the sooner you can transform them from blockers into bridges. I am a living testament of that. My clients are a living testament of that. You'll start to see that these challenges, they're not obstacles, they're guiding lights leading you to a life filled with more. That more that I was talking about in the beginning. More fulfillment, more satisfaction, creativity, inspiration, alignment, authenticity, and purpose. Woo! So imagine what your life could look like if instead of shying away from that more, you embraced it fully and unapologetically. What if you started to see these feelings as an invitation to explore and to ask yourself, what else am I meant to do? What else is there for me? How wonderful and how impactful can my life get? Following the more that you feel called to isn't something to fear or apologize for. Please hear me. It is your path to becoming the fullest, truest version of yourself. I tell you this as someone 8 years down the road. It's not about having it all figured out right now. It's not about knowing exactly what that more is. It's about trusting that this journey is leading you exactly where you need to be. So I invite you to embrace this process. Let your desire for more become your compass and let it guide you to a life that not only looks good on the outside, but feels good on the inside. Yes. Remember that you are not alone in this journey, and we are all navigating these waters together. I'm here to support you every single step of the way. Something truly spectacular is waiting for you on the other side. Don't be afraid to go after it. And remember, your vision is your compass. Stay aligned, stay certain, and keep moving forward.